no legal obligation on them to keep someone on their platform. So in the few instances where they have taken people off the platform, this is what's really interesting. So in public, I remember when Dr. Joe McCullough, when we identified him as one of our disinformation dozen, he tweeted something about, he did a gif of Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "If you strike me down, I'll be," oh, is it Darth Vader? I don't know. It's one of the guys from Star Wars. "If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than ever before." And, you know, so sort of saying like, deplatforming actually helps us. It brings more attention to me. And at the same time, Facebook were warning that there could potentially be First Amendment violations. So we track the litigation by bad actors when they're deplatformed by Facebook. And here's where it gets really interesting. When Del Bigtree, a big producer of misinformation about vaccines, was deplatformed by Facebook, he sued them. And he said, "You've broken my First Amendment rights." Facebook turned around and said, "That's nonsense. You don't have a First Amendment right to decide what's on our platform. We are protected by the First Amendment. And we have other legislation as well, which makes it clear that we can decide what is on our platform because we're a publisher. We own Facebook.com and we don't want to have you on it. So go away." The second thing they argued was that whereas in public, they all say, "If you deplatform us, we'll go somewhere else, we'll become even stronger." In their litigation, because they have to prove a tort, they have to prove damage done to them, they make it clear how much economic damage is done. And what they say is really interesting. They say we lose data, and that data is valuable. So we lose lists of people that have swallowed our nonsense that we can then market to. And we economically utilize those lists to make money. And there, in those lawsuits, is laid bare the truth about social media deplatforming of bad actors. It hurts those bad actors really severely because they treat this as an economic gain. And the second is, it's not the platforms that have to abide by the First Amendment rights to allow bad actors onto their platform. It's the platforms who are protected by the First Amendment from being forced to put put those people on their platform. Because, as they correctly argue, think of it in the negative. Are you saying that Facebook absolutely legally has to allow people to be racist, to spread lies, to do whatever they want on their corporate website? Because that's nonsense. That's utter insanity.
So let's go into that a little bit more about courts and policy and regulation. You know, where is this going to fall, right? Like we were talking a little bit about the role of the courts earlier today. You know, you're mentioning it right now. What does that regulatory policy framework look like? What would be some of your wishes, perhaps?
So I'm someone who is politically small L liberal, in that I don't believe in the state jumping all over our right to speak. I think people should be allowed to think whatever the hell they want, and a robust debate's a really, really important thing in our society. The ability of people not to live in fear of the government deciding what they're able to think or say. And so I'm really anti-content moderation. I'm really, some European countries are really into defining what speech is allowed online. Germany, for example, has the NetzDG, which says that spreading Holocaust denial in Germany is a criminal act, and doing it on social media platforms, Facebook can be fined for it. I think that's deeply problematic. And so what we have advocated is a global framework, a transnational framework that countries can sign up to, which combines two key things. First of all, transparency. So my argument has always been with social media platforms, you need to understand how it is that they operate. 98% of Meta's revenue, Facebook's revenue, comes from advertising. The only thing that they want to do is keep you on the platform, because if you're on the platform, you keep scrolling down, you'll keep consuming ads. And so the idea that this is a platform that's about free speech or anything else is kind of nonsense, really, isn't it? It's just a bit bizarre to claim that this is a free speech platform when it's clearly an advertising platform. It's also really bizarre to pretend that we're the customers of Facebook. You absolutely are not. Do you know that if you use something for free, you typically are the product, you're not the customer. And so how all those platforms work are they keep you on platform, they take your data and they sell it to someone else.